You were made to feel in a certain way while growing up. There is a lot of resonance in what you put out there, which is very bold. So tell me a little bit about the character you have put yourself in the film with.
Why do we have to make a choice between belonging and freedom? Why can't it come together, And as an artist, as a filmmaker, one's job is just to be honest with one's own representation at the same time of that of the society.
And your debut feature, Shape of Momo. It is about Sikkim, it is about Northeast, it is about Momos. So, from where did that inspiration come from?
Momo is such an
Do you feel that women storytellers have the power to change the emotional language of cinema?
I also feel that, a film should stand on its own merit, should not be looked at as they need to stop apologizing for who they are, See, we are human beings after all. We do these things. We need to talk about it.
So, hi, I'm Archana Datta, founder of Second Act, and this is a Discover Your Second Act podcast, stories of courage, reinvention, and the art of beginning again. I left my 28-year-old corporate career to build spaces where women wake up to what is possible. That is what Second Act truly is, and that is why this podcast exists in the first place. So today's guest stopped me in my tracks. For the first time, I encountered her work because honestly, I did not know about you. I'm so sorry, Tribeny Rai, a filmmaker from Sikkim, an alumna of Satyajit Ray Film and Television Institute, and one of the most quietly powerful storytelling voices to emerge from Indian independent cinema. And I'm so happy to meet you today. And your debut feature, Shape of Momo, of course, a movie that I truly want to speak about today is something that you also have many awards already won, and you had grand jury prize of IFFLA. It was screened at San Sebastian, premiered at Busan, and I think I'm sure from here on your awards will be endless as well. So Tribeni, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Archana. Thank you so much for getting me to your platform that empowers so many women. I'm very glad to be on it.
Thanks so much. It means a lot, to be honest. So let me start with somewhere personal. Okay. Your films feel less like something you watch and more like something you quietly sit inside, because this is something that I felt also with watching some snippets. There is stillness in them that is very rare. When did you actually first realize that storytelling was going to be your language?
I grew up in a house full of women. We have four daughters. I'm the third one, and I constantly grew up with this feeling of trying to compensate for the son my parents never had. I always felt I was made to feel like a second class citizen. Just it is. I think that feeling is like I know there is immediate. I mean, people have more crucial problems going around, but just to live in a world where you're always treated secondary, this feeling really made me question so many things around my life. And so I thought I have to, I really wanted to become someone powerful because I never saw women in that position, So I thought maybe then I will start writing, because pen has so much power. And I thought I'm going to change the world bit by bit. And then I discovered this visual medium called cinema, where I thought, it is even more powerful where you have words and then you have visuals to go with it. So that is how I decided that I'm going to be a filmmaker. Of course, coming from where I come from, my only exposure to films so far had been Bollywood or Hollywood films that you watched on television or in theaters, So it was around 2012 when I joined film school, Satyajit Ray Film Television Institute. And that opened a whole new world of cinema to me, The kind of films that I watched there felt so real, so relevant, and I found a lot of resonance.
Does any character really feel like you? Like you said, that you were made to feel in a certain way while growing up. So I now feel there is a lot of resonance in what you put out there, which is very bold. So tell me a little bit about the character you have put yourself in the film with.
I think I resonate with both the sisters. I'm a lot like Vishnu. I'm very strong-headed. Like going ahead and making a personal film like this.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I have portion of Juno, the younger sister in me. Because given where we are in society today, you also have to adapt. It is not always easy to be a strong-headed woman. So to navigate the society, the patriarchal society, sometimes we have to find smarter ways of doing things. So sometimes I'm like Juno, sometimes I'm like Vishnu, and I also see a portion of me in the mother, because I have grown up in this society and I am part of it. I'm part of this society, and like how in this film, if you will see, it is a house full of women, and there's no man in the film necessarily, a male protagonist. So even without how patriarchy is so deeply ingrained in our society that it does not necessarily need a man to function. you know it is so deeply ingrained, it can function within just a group of women. So, and modern women like me who are independent, who are strong-headed. So I think I see a lot of myself in all of the characters, and I think that is the beauty of the film, because that's how people are resonating. Sometimes they resonate with the grandmother, sometimes the tenant's son, sometimes the mother. I think that so far that has been the advantage of our film as well.
Yeah. But tell me something. You intentionally, I think, like what I hear right now is that you showed Vishnu as a rebel, and yet she carries so much resistance inside her, like kind of like adapting, not saying, wanting to do, but not doing, So was it a conscious choice to show that, this is still prevalent? We might be bold and really, having a voice, but there are things that we still can't do.
In a way, yes, because that is what our reality is. I think, even though we are very empowered today, even though we have the agency that our mothers never had, I think there are places where we still can't fully be who we are, especially this idea of, like I come from the small state of Sikkim, and whatever I am today as a filmmaker, that place has shaped me into it. But why do we, especially women or individuals who have traveled or who have had exposure, why do we have to make a choice between belonging and freedom? Why can't it come together? That is one of the questions that I want to raise, because I think belonging is such a beautiful feeling, but it can't conform you. It can't come with baggage, and it shouldn't. So yeah, I feel like that.
Yeah, the more work that I do with women now, the more I feel that we are all looking for that belonging,
Yes,
and
yes,
belonging of self more than anything else. Where do
yes,
I belong? Who am I? What do I want? What do I truly care of? What are the values I stand for? I think these are questions that once they start hitting a woman, I think things change around. And I feel that
yes.
also coming in your movie, right? But tell me, since you also said that there could have been some discomfort when your family probably will see this movie or while making of some characters, which they will also be able to identify, do you see what kind of reactions coming from them?
So when I say this film is personal, it does not mean it is completely reflection of my
Yeah.
family. Of course, it has my own experiences and experiences of women around me, my village, my community. Every other day I receive messages from Nepali women saying how they are felt seen, and how they are able to resonate with the characters. But my mother has watched the film. She completely disagrees with the mother character. She's like, I am not like her. So I'm like, but mom, this is, the mother in the film is not you. It is just representation of mothers in our community. One has to be very vulnerable to be able to do something like this, to tell people that, it comes from a personal space. But I don't feel like I want to shy away from that fact, because this is one of the experiences that deeply affects me. And I'm sure there are several other women and individuals who will resonate with this. And it is not something that I am embarrassed of. It is something that I would like to share, and I just want people to start a conversation around it, because I know a lot of women, not just from India. I've had women from Colombia, from Spain saying that, this has been our experience. I've been living this life for 10 years, and how did you make a film about it in India, So it's I think when you tell a personal story like this, it becomes universal when you tell it from a place of honesty.
Tell me something. Did you feel the lack of such cinema in the mainstream cinema, of course, where the real stories connect? And at the same time, you also know that this kind of cinema has its own kind of audience, which will probably be able to relate to it. It will not go mass, probably, and you okay with that?
I think India is so diverse, and more so. With this film, I'm just beginning to learn. I'm just beginning to meet people. Where I also personally feel, we need all kinds of films. Like, I'm one of those people who will watch Tarkovsky at the same time I will enjoy a what do you call it, Avengers series or something. I think as people, we need different films at different point of time, and I think India is so diverse. There's audience for every kind of film, so I just feel like it's just matter of getting the news out there. The audiences are there, but films like ours, what happens with it is, we make it with such a tight budget. We don't have money to promote the film most of the time, so we can't get the word out there. I think the audience is there for this kind of films as well, because it's so diverse. So I think with our film, I am very grateful that we have voices like Zoya Akhtar, Rima Kagdi, and Payal Kapadia, such strong, talented filmmakers championing our film. So that what happens is, then it stops becoming a film from Sikkim. They come on board and add their credibility to the project, and then I think then we can draw, because they've already such a big body of work. They've already done so many films. They have the audiences, and then they are like, you watch our films, but there's something that you might also like, so they bring those audiences together. I just hope we are able to create an ecosystem where we are able to coexist. I mean, all kinds of films, that is the conversation that we were having in the afternoon, where we were saying there's space for everyone. The country is so huge. We just need a healthy industry where a big budget film and a film like Shape of Momo can coexist.
So tell me, of course, I'm sure that you will answer this 1 million times about the name of the movie. You must have already answered many times. And you're saying it's not about Sikkim, it is about Sikkim, it is about Northeast, it is about momos. So from where did that inspiration come from?
I think Momo is such an integral part of our community where I come from. And as soon as you say the word Momo, it roots the film to Himalayan culture or Nepali culture for that matter. So it was very important for me, and also it carries so much more than just like being a food item. It is a story of migration elsewhere. I mean, now you can find Momo everywhere in India. It has so much history to it. So I was like, if and also sometimes it is used in a very racial tone as well, when you say, oh, Momo, this, that. But I think it had to be part of this narrative, especially coming from where it is coming from. And when we thought of this title, the most important thing is I thought about this title in a way, and I kept it to myself, and I was like, okay, let the audience interpret. And you will not believe the kind of interpretations that audience give me, viewers give me. It surprises me every other time. They will say something new, and I then I have to be honest and say, I had not thought about it. So it's crazy. I think it has been a blessing. Before that, I think the film was called A House Full of Women, and then we kept changing it, and finally we locked this one. But the Nepali title of the film is Chora Jaste, which also translates to just like sun.
Okay, so that's interesting. But you did say that there were many interpretations from the name, The Shape of Momo. So tell me a little bit about that. What all kinds of interpretations came in your life?
Uh, no, I have a lot to think about. Like, some said that it takes so much mehnat to make a momo. The and from the outside it looks beautiful, but from inside it's really layered. from outside it looks really simple. So the film is like that. It's very simple on the outside, but it's emotionally very layered. That was one of the interpretations, and the other interpretations, which pretty much sits with what I have thought, is how our society tries to confine women, especially, individuals and women, to a certain uh, like they have a conventional description definition, and we must fit the box, and like the protagonist does not know how to make Momo, and she does not care. And I think this small act of resistance then starts a conversation. But again, like Momo, there are, I think, across cultures there are, like, I think in Punjabi household it will be roti. Someone in Korea said they had a dish similar like Momo, and if a pregnant woman could fold it properly, beautifully, she's going to give birth to a beautiful son. So I think it also has to do with women, the status of women. No matter what you achieve in life, no matter who you become, eventually, if you fail in kitchen, then you're not a good woman. You're not the perfect woman. So I think that was also the kind of interpretations that came along the way.
Okay, now tell me, I want to go back in time about your filmmaking or, understanding the kind of films that you're making. What drew you towards that?
Um, I think one was lack of representation, to be very honest, because growing up, as I told you, I went to film school, and then I realized, I had friends from Kerala, and their Malayalam industry, film industry is so rich. They have Adur, for instance.
Yeah.
Then I had Bengali friends. Then I saw they were making. I mean, they had stalwarts like Satyajit Ray, Ritwik Ghatak, you know, and then I looked around and I saw there's nothing from my place. And then I felt like it then became my responsibility, because the ministry funds the students who study in FTI and SFTI at subsidized rates. Otherwise we can't. We people who come from middle class really can't afford to learn filmmaking. It is a really expensive profession as well as course. So I thought then it becomes my duty then to go back and tell my stories, because we are never the heroes of our own stories, first of all. Because whenever someone comes and tells stories, either it is to do with our landscape that is very beautiful, or they project this people
Yeah.
from the region as simpletons or exotic creatures. They'll have some shaman doing something, or these hills people are very 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 sweet. So I always had that problem, and I thought, um we should stop complaining about how someone else is not telling our story correctly, and should take charge of our own stories. And that is one of the reasons why I made this film the way I made it.
So beautiful. And I think we need more women like you who really stand up to where they feel not represented enough. And I think second act is that space also, which I'm trying to build on the similar lines, right? It is about wherever you feel that you have not been represented enough. And I say it's about life. Okay, you've not been represented enough in life, and then you choose a path that you truly believe in. But definitely there are questions that come. Then definitely you want to go back to, like, am I doing the right thing? Am I going too much
Yes.
against the norm? Any like kind of feelings that you feel along the way, since you're also breaking lots of barriers yourself?
First and foremost is the feeling of, my state Sikkim is really celebrating this film, because this is one of the few films that has traveled to so many film festivals. I'm one of the first woman filmmaker from there. So I often question they're celebrating me, but I am being very critical of my own society and own place in the film. So sometimes I feel like maybe, I'm being too harsh, but I just feel like one has to be honest, and as an artist, as a filmmaker, one's job is just to be honest with one's own representation at the same time of that of the society. That is why I think the protagonist of our film is also not a conventional protagonist, because mostly when you see growing up, whenever I saw a feminist film, for instance, we champion them because they're righteous. We champion them because they are this epitome of sacrifice. Like a mother cannot eat before her child, even if she's hungry, she has to feed her child first, and all of that. And I thought that brought in a lot of baggage for me growing up, to be a certain way. So I think that is one of the reasons why we created this. People say unconventional, but I would like to call her real, a real life like protagonist, someone who's just like you. I think that is one of the reasons why people are resonating, because we are just like Vishnu. We are modern, and we want things our way. It is not working. We complain. Then we do something really stupid, and then we try to overcompensate for that, like how she does in the film. And that is, I think, that is how film should be, like representation of life, so that we do not create this unnecessary benchmark for people growing up. So yeah.
Yeah, you said it actually that, we are all going through it, but there are more than like 90% of us go through it because we are supposed to. We don't know any better, and the society doesn't let us know any better. And we say, यही है, हमारी किस्मत ऐसी है, हम बने ही इसलिए हैं, women are supposed to do this. And I think, and the thing continues, and, questioning it, like you said, and the younger generation, especially my daughter is questioning that, don't be a role model for me where I'm supposed to do exactly the way you did things, then I can never change. I can never change my,
Yeah.
because this is a normal. And I'm so glad that, people like you are speaking about it and showing it. So did making of this movie or coming to cinema show you another reflection of yours as well, of who this person is or become?
Yeah, I think what cinema does, especially the writing process, I think uh is it really affects you as a person also, because when you're writing, you have to be objective about everything. I can't be like, okay, this is my kind of personal story, let me make her the hero of the story. I think I have to, like, when I'm being critical of my society, I also need to look inward. I certainly come from a place of privilege compared to other women in Sikkim, where I had access to film school, or I had access to film books. So with that knowledge also comes responsibility. And I think, I cannot make a film about a woman or about patriarchy in isolation. There are so many things that intersect, socially, politically. And I think I have to give correct representation of that. I think I'm losing the thread of your question, actually.
No, I was just saying, did you see another part of you while making the
Yeah.
this movie or entering into cinema? Did you realize? See, because what happens is when you enter into a second act where you start designing a life that you believe in, definitely there's a lot of self-awareness which comes. Oh, I behave like this. Oh, I react to this. Oh, I don't react to this. I accept this. I adapt to this. So there's so much that goes on to say, okay, how did I become this person? And now that I want to change, I need to leave a lot of from me and I want to take forward these things. So, did you learn anything along about?
Yes. Yeah, that is true. I think, as a filmmaker, as I got into this craft and this process, I think sometimes I feel like I am thinking like outside my body, where I am able to observe myself, because I think we are very sensitive and sensible people, especially I think uh, any artist is, in that sense. So I think while writing this film, it just so happened that my co-writer Kisne, who's also one of the producers of the film, had come to my village to write the film with me. And we were going on our regular evening run after having written the drafts. And so, so I was just interacting with my village kids. And he told me, that you have a certain tone that you use when you talk to your village kids. I was like, no. And he's like, no, yeah. He said, you have a certain tone, and it comes from a place of superiority, where you are this city woman who they look up to, and then the way you talk. And I think those instances have really made me look inward, and that's how we develop the character of Vishnu, where even if you see, there's so much, there's class, caste, everything comes in play. So I think one has to be, especially if you're making a personal film like this, one immediately begins to observe oneself, becomes more aware of one's tone, like I did, or one's interaction with the environment.
So interesting. And I hope that you keep evolving through this process and you truly bring out who you are in the whole realm of things.
Yes.
Great. So Tell me, where does Tribeny Rai go from here? What does your second act look like? As a question.
I think people keep asking me about my next project, definitely. But this process of making an independent film like this, I'm very grateful. It has been really enriching and fulfilling, but at the same time, the whole process is somewhat exhausting, where I'm also the producer, I'm also the director, so I'm doing creative things, but at the same time, while traveling to the festival, looking after all the logistics, so it's a bit tiring, but I think I just hope my second act is where I am able to enable filmmakers from my region, where they see a girl from a village from Sikkim made Shape of Momo, and it traveled world, and it got theatrically released in India and in Nepal. I just hope more filmmakers from my region and even more women filmmakers, come. I am able to hopefully open doors for them and create an ecosystem where we then have more stories like this.
So amazing. I wish you all the best and may your second act flourish and touch many more lives and opens doors for many, many, many more women to just do what they truly believe.
Thank you so much.
All right. So now I want to ask you a few more questions on if Shape of Momo had a smell, what would that be?
I think it would smell exactly like how Momo usually smells. Um, Yeah, I think it would be that, because then it has to be, it is rooted in the culture, the story is rooted in my village, it is rooted in my life. So I think it will have its original smell. Otherwise, it wouldn't be Momo.
All right. So if you have to have one sound from Sikkim that you want to carry everywhere you go, what would that sound be?
I think it would be that bird cuckoo that I have in the film. So the story behind the cuckoo sound is, when my father, growing up, I used to hear this bird and I used to wonder what is this bird saying. And my mother used to tell me stories every night before going to sleep. So she had made up different stories. And one day I told my father, this I constantly hear this cuckoo bird. What is it saying? So my father quickly made up a rhyme in Nepali that said, I'm the third daughter. He said, um, uh, like his name is Vishnu. The protagonist is named after my father. So he said, Vishnu's daughter is naughty and hot. And she's the naughtiest kid in the village, and everyone knows that. So he told me that this bird goes to every neighbor and household in the village and tells that. So I was like, then it became like I really wanted to incorporate this in my film, but somehow we were not able to do it with my father's memory, but we did find a way to incorporate it. So I just hope this is something that I can incorporate in my future films in different several ways. Yeah.
So amazing. So you want to sing that particular song that's in the movie with the bird cuckoo? Do you remember?
Uh, so it says, "What did you do?" said the cuckoo. I did it too. Said the I know it too. Said the cuckoo. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I really enjoyed it actually. So that's why I said, why don't you mention it anyway?
Yeah.
All right. So there is, of course, lots of stereotypes about every place, every person, every society. I want to know if there's one stereotype about Northeast you want gone from here. What would that be?
I cannot particularly think about it right now.
Maybe you can say
Um,
it's not all about momos. You know,
yeah, it is
Maybe
not.
it's
It is
not
not.
only
I
about
think
momos.
Yeah, it is not. And I think people have a way of, like I told you, looking at us through exotic lens, you know. I feel like we people from my region are as complex as people from metro cities, And I really wish that they give dignity to us. But I am like, I don't want to get that from them. I think we need to take it ourselves. We often complain about how our stories are misrepresented or how we are underrepresented in the mainstream or elsewhere. But I think we cannot wait for someone else to come and bring about change in our narrative. I think when you tell stories like Shape of Momo, which are personal, comes from the scale that it comes from, I think then we can bring about gentle shift in the whole narrative of our place.
If I describe your life as a genre, film genre right now, what genre would it be?
Drama, drama. I think I will keep making drama films, and it's going to be drama because I am scared of thriller, and I'm scared of all the genre films that are coming because it really scares me when we were traveling with our film. Because Parasite did so great, and zombies were such a big thing with all the K dramas. People were like, okay, you came with such a ordinary story, such a human story. That was a big challenge. So I think I will stick to ordinary, beautiful drama.
So beautiful. One thing I want to ask you from the movie is that, there was a relationship with money that women go through, right? And it is that whenever I think Bishnu is asking for more money, she's looked at in a certain way. Even from her own sense of asking, she feels frustrated because the society is not complying to her. Do you have a message in there?
I just feel like not just with the money sequence, but with the tenant's son, if you see, I feel like if instead of Vishnu there was a man in that position, would
Mhm.
they make excuses like that? Would the little son then challenge the authority? For example, if it was the love interest Gyan in Vishnu's place, would they ever do that? Of course, I also understand the way that Vishnu is dealing with them is rather harsh. But we also have to understand that when all your life you are feeling like people are cheating on you, or all your life you have been insecure of your environment, then that's who you become. Sometimes people are like, she's too strong-headed, but the society has made her so, to protect her family. Sometimes then she ends up doing that. And so I feel like it is not just with the money thing, but also I think whenever women take this place of authority, um, people, then we overcompensate for doing that. Like how she does in the film, especially with the tenant's son. If you see, she's right in her place. The family has her, but they also again have different social reality. That is a different layer to it. But yeah.
Yeah, I could see a lot of like, back and forth also when she wants to open the homestay, right? And how much of that is always shut down as a thought also. So I could see the discomfort of society also accepting that, this thought is also coming from somebody probably who's not a man himself or herself.
Yes, yes,
That. I was just
yes, yes.
questioning that thought as well, that how uncomfortable is that for the society to even accept that, right?
That is true. But I think when I wrote it, because I also along the around making this film, I was also thinking of maybe starting a homestay, and these were the questions that came up. It's like, you don't have a man in the house, how will you run it? So I think these are our reality.
So cool. Tell me, do you feel that women storytellers have the power to change the emotional language of cinema?
I think we do. I sometimes I feel like, I don't know, especially from the place that I come from, people keep calling me woman filmmaker. Of course, I really appreciate that because it has taken a long time for a lot of women filmmakers to make a space for us. Where now I can come and easily make a film. We did not have that access. A lot of women filmmakers came before me to do that. But I also feel that, a film should um, stand on its own merit, should not be looked at as, I don't want people to come and watch Shape of Momo because a woman filmmaker has made it. I want them to come because it comes from a place of honesty, and I want people to emotionally engage with it as an individual. But like you said, again, it is very important, the other narrative, because I don't think we have come to a place where we are equal yet. It is going to take years. So so I really believe we need more women voices to tell our stories and their stories, because it won't be enough. I think we need more and more voices to amplify our story, so that tomorrow we are able to create an environment where we then feel we then begin to treat each other as an equal, you know.
So beautiful. So before you go, I want your one message for, I would say women, because I work very closely with women. One really message for women that they need to stop apologizing for.
They need to stop apologizing for who they are, you know. I think we come in different shapes, different forms, like shape of Momo, you know, different shapes and different forms, and to each his own. I think, you know, one should not shape oneself just to fit a particular box or a conventional box that has been set by the society or by your family, you know. I think one should own up to who one is, you know. um i i really I really hope we are able to create an ecosystem, an environment where we can be who we truly are without apologizing ever.
So beautiful. But you know what's coming to my mind? That we should stop apologizing for farting in public. And you made
Ah,
it clear that she's coming home, you know, one of your characters is coming home. The second sister is coming home to fart in peace because she just can't do it at her in-laws' house.
yes, I think it's rarely you see, you know, in cinema you rarely see these things being discussed about, you know, part women. So that was our one way of also breaking the ice, where we are like, see, we are human beings after all. We do these things. We need to talk about it. Yeah.
Yes, we do fart as well. So thanks, Tribeny. I wish you and the film and the second acts that you are, you know, kind of evolving to spreading this kind of cinema, the stories, and the authenticity. I wish you all the best, and I'm rooting for you, and the whole second act community is rooting for you because we are a bunch of incredible women who are all going to watch your movie, and all the best for it.
I am so happy. I'm just so happy to be here with you, and especially, you know, through your platform, you're empowering so many women. And I just hope, my I know a film or literature cannot change things overnight, but I hope after watching the film, people are able to reflect and, I don't know, find gentle shifts in their life. So thank you so much.
Thank you and a big hug.
Yes, yes, yes. I hope I get to meet you in person very soon.
Yes, that goes without saying. As I said, Second Act Awards is around the corner this year, and I'm going to get you and grab you and speak about this film and your next second acts, in that platform. So stay tuned for that, in fact. So
Thank
I'm not
you.
leaving you.
It would be on an honor. Okay, thank you so much, Archana. Thank you.